Okay. Good morning, everybody. Info Sam here. Nothing alarming with our live update here. Just have some information that we want to get out to the public, and felt that now would be an appropriate time to do that. We're coming up on the Alaska team is coming up on being on this assignment here for just about 2 weeks, and we're looking at a transition to the next incident management team to come in behind us. And to kind of explain what that's going to look like, I've got our Deputy Incident Commander, Tom Kurth, here to kind of give us a look at what that's going to be here in the next couple days. Tom, if you could address this for us.
All right, good morning. Thank you, Sam. Again, Tom Kurth. I'm the Deputy Incident Commander with the Alaska team, and we're going to go through a transfer of command with California Team 10, which will be coming in behind us, and we'll end up shadowing for a couple of days here. So we'll address kind of the whys and how this works here in the next couple of minutes here. And they'll be what I believe is the 8th team coming into the Creek Fire. That's a lot of teams for the agency to deal with coming in and out, but even more so, you as the public and our cooperators have endured this fire since September 4th the entire time. So the burden has certainly been on you folks here. But typically with our teams, we're rotating in and out on a schedule of that can be anywhere from 14 to 30 days, depending on what the demands are and the objectives and so on and so forth. Now, this late in the season, we have shortened our own duration up to around 14 days, but actually if you add it up, it's almost 20 days total here. And our season started as early in Alaska back in June there. So having another team coming in is certainly relief for us, and that Cal team brings a very similar configuration as we have. And that's about 58 to 60 some individuals with subject expertise in information, safety, operations, air operations, finance, logistics, planning, and they'll come in and they'll match up with counterparts that are here on our team, and then we shadow for a day, and we'll actually leave behind some folks that will help with that transition in all those subjects and in those sections there, and they'll help with this transfer so the knowledge and the institutional history is not overlooked here, and we'll make it as smooth as we possibly can. And that is the focus that we've had here. Was originally suppression and suppression repair. Due to the weather changes here, we've been fortunate to have what is a season opening event from the standpoint of we're looking for a season ending event, and that includes this weather change with cooler temperatures, but most fortunate has been the snow that's come in here. That's much deeper in places like the higher elevations and all the way down to where you get at our lowest elevations where it's actually clear on the ground there. And then of utmost importance to us is access with the roads and getting into the places where we're actually doing suppression repair. Remarkably, up on the north end here, we still have what has been, I guess, it's been called over 100 campfires, and that's all along the edge, and that they're highly resistant from these big fuels that are what we call 1,000-hour fuels, but they're just large trees and stump holes and that sort of thing. And they tend to, they can actually melt the snow before it even hits the ground there. So they'll be very persistent as we continue through here. But then focusing on suppression repair is what we want everybody to do now while we have this little window here to make sure that when we get any unstable events, that's rain, melt, as we continue on all the way through into spring there, and try and get everything stabilized from our efforts that were in there with suppression initially, and that's establishing control lines. And so we'll put those back to the best of our ability and so they can resist any environmental compromise that occurs out there. So this will be occurring in the next couple of days here. This transfer of command, the new team is coming in today. We do a in-brief where we give them our transition of what's left out there, where it is, what are issues, who you need to contact, who are our representatives, who the cooperators are, and that'll all take place today. and then we'll go in with a shadow day tomorrow where we're side by side exchanging information, getting people familiar with this ground here. And then by Friday in the morning, we'll turn this over in a transfer of command where the new team, the Cal Team 10, will come in and take responsibility, and that occurs at the initial briefing on Friday morning. And then our team tends to will be here to answer questions while they have total control of the incident. And then by Saturday, we'll be traveling back to Alaska and resetting there. So everything that's taken place here, we certainly appreciate the hospitality that's occurred here. It's always a privilege to be able to come in and help with a crisis of some sort here, and work directly with you folks that are, law enforcement and our Caltrans, our utilities, and then finally you, the public. Now, this fire has taken down considerable structures and homes out there, and so then it's incumbent upon you as the public to show your resilience and rebuild in some sort of fashion there. The agency administrator has certainly talked about the character that is out in this forest here, and part of the homes and the recreational activities that take place are a big part of that. So you rebuilding is going to take place out there, and that's a tough thing, but showing resilience to setbacks is that's an important characteristics of people that we find in these rural communities. And then you want to take time to, you got to incorporate so-called fire-wise techniques in that, and that's building your own home that is resistant to fire, to wildland fire, and clearing ground. And nowadays they have a lot of fire-resistant materials, and that includes how you build your roof and how you keep the vegetation back. And so make sure you consider all that when you're rebuilding out in these areas that nowadays our fire seasons are long, are much more frequent, and so we have to kind of take on the concept of living with fire nowadays, as opposed to simply putting all fires out. That's just not possible these days. Okay, Sam?
All right, Tom, thanks for that explanation here as we get ready to transition with the next team. My counterpart coming in, the information officer with the next team coming in, they will be continuing with the public outreach here. They'll continue to utilize the Sierra National Forest Facebook page, also the Creek Fire Information YouTube channel. And I have members of my staff as we staggered arriving at the incident here who will transition over this period to be able to work with the incoming team so that they know all the avenues of communication that we utilize as we reach out to the public. So hopefully you won't notice much of a change, but as this is winding down, certain things are going to start to slow down and become a little more infrequent. And one of those is the community meetings. We really don't have another one scheduled right now. There for a while they were several times a week, and we've kind of pulled them back to once a week here. And don't really have another one scheduled right now, but if you follow along on the social media here, you'll certainly be aware of California Team 10's intentions here as they move forward and take over the communications here for this incident. And using these forums, we address questions, and one of them that has been reoccurring is the current forest closure. And granted, here just on the 9th, the past closure expired and there's a new one in place, and there were no changes with that. And just to kind of address that, I have District Ranger Denise Tolmie here. And Denise, if you could kind of give the forest perspective on the forest closure and what that's looking like here into the future, if you would.
Certainly, Sam. Thank you for having me and asking that question. I just wanted to really quickly make sure that folks know that any time there is a decision needing to be made to restrict access to the public to their public lands, and it's true, it's your public lands that we've been asked to manage for you, it's a decision that's not taken lightly. There are many factors that come into play when making that decision. And most recently was the choice to do a forest closure order in regards to the creek fire and because of the creek fire. So as Sam mentioned, the forest closure order was set to expire on November 9th. The decision was made by the forest supervisor with recommendations from the Alaska team as well as line officers here on the Sierra National Forest to extend that forest closure order through till right now. It's set to expire on November 24th. I can tell you that each and every day we talk with the incident management team in this particular time. That's the Alaska IMT. I'm sure we will also be discussing this with the California Team 10 once they take command of this fire. Discussing each and every day, is there a potential for us to open more area up of the Sierra National Forest? Just as a reminder, not all of the Sierra National Forest is closed right now. We do have pieces and portions of the Bass Lake Ranger District that are currently open in the northwest portion of the Sierra National Forest for your enjoyment. What is in particular probably asking the questions, when do we have an opportunity to have some of the areas of the southern portion of the forest open? That is something that we are currently discussing each and every day. With the possibilities of being able to open up some of the southern portion or the High Sierra Ranger District within the next few days. But with that, we have to take into consideration some items. First and foremost, as Tom alluded to, we do still have firefighters out there that are attempting and trying their best to continue doing the suppression repair that's associated with the creek fire. Also with that, comes the decisions of what are the things that we need to do in regards to the burned area that we have out here that is called the creek fire. So there are still some people and folks that for you are making sure that it's safe and available for you to go out there and not have to worry about the fact that there's something that may put you in harm's way. Also, if we have great deals of folks traveling up and down and through the forest, that becomes a challenge for the firefighters out there that are attempting to get heavy pieces of equipment up and down our narrow, steep roads out there. So a lot of things are taken into consideration. Like I wanted to reiterate, it is a decision that's not taken lightly when we have to say that portions of the public lands are closed to visitors to use. And so please take and have patience, and soon we will have a different decision for you in regards to opening back up the Sierra National Forest that you know and love. Thank you.
All right, Denise, thanks a lot for that. And I know, just looking at the comments and such that are coming into my office, that's a very important question that a lot of people are asking. And you know, it's a national forest, and national parks, our park system, our forest systems are managed by our government that we put in there. And you know, it's still for the people, by the people. If you want to make a difference in the forests, get involved. It's a public process as they decide the management practices for our lands here that have been set aside for our recreation, our enjoyment, and also the resources on the land. It's not just arbitrary decisions that are made. It's a process, and that process goes through public input. So get involved, reach out, talk with your local ranger district, reach out to the supervisor's office, and it starts with volunteering and see how the situation works, how the management practices work. If you don't like it, do something to make a change. So with that, we're going to wrap it up here. I know that my staff is working on the operational update briefing with our ops chief, Casey Bosflug. That ought to be coming out here pretty quick. And our update, the maps and the morning update, that'll be emailed out to the folks on our distribution list. And this is going to continue on as we transition into the next team. Have really appreciated being here. Denise, you have a beautiful backyard. What a great place the Sierras are. And we've really enjoyed being here. We're returning back to Alaska to where it's dark and cold and deep snow, but we love it, and we're going home, but we really appreciated the chance to come down here and help out and assist you folks with your forest here. Thank you all very much.